Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Lian on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. If you want to live your dream life and become the best version of yourself, then this podcast is for you. I hope that I can inspire and encourage you to never give up and to always believe in yourself. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. Welcome back to this new episode. Today I have a special guest, Mel, with me. She was part of my Aligned Life Mastery Group coaching. That's how we connected. She moved to New Zealand, or she was traveling at that time in August, still on a visitor visa. And then she also decided to stay in New Zealand, and she's now studying in New Zealand. Basically what I did to stay here. And it was really cool to have a chat about moving abroad, moving to a different country, the challenges we're facing, maybe some mindset shift when you move abroad. And she's also going to share her experience with my group coaching, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. I absolutely loved hosting the Aligned Life Mastery Group coaching, and the Aligned Life Mastery Group coaching is now also available as an online course, so you can sign up and watch it anytime and do all the exercises that I prepared for you. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode. Share this with someone you think is interested in this, is interested in moving abroad, and just in general, mindset, following your dream, following your intuition, finding your purpose, and all these things. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome, Mel. Thank you so much for joining today to my podcast. Feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you're doing.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Mel. I'm 29, turning 30 this year. And yeah, as you can maybe hear, I'm not from New Zealand. So I'm originally from Austria, and I grew up there, lived there nearly my whole life, and moved to the Netherlands 2022. So like 2 years ago now, I lived there for a year. And yeah, moved to New Zealand now nearly a year ago. And just started studying actually this week.
So cool. I met Mel in one of my group coachings, and we were actually in touch because she decided to study here. And as you guys know, I studied in New Zealand as well, so I could give some tips of how things were and what I did and stuff like that. Today we're going to talk a bit about moving to New Zealand, struggles when moving to a different country, moving to New Zealand. First of all, what inspired you to move to New Zealand or come to New Zealand in the first place?
Yeah, I get that question a lot, and I think even today in class, like one of the other students asked me that, and it's like a difficult, but also on the other hand, like a quite easy question or answer. So, like I think since I'm a teenager, I had like the dream of going to Australia and like moving abroad, and I'm really scared of snakes. And I can remember like a friend of mine then once said like, "Oh, but why aren't you going to New Zealand? Like they don't have any snakes there." And obviously like it's a really, you have like a diverse landscape and scenery, and obviously it's not the same as Australia, but like maybe the lifestyle and everything is a bit similar. And since then, I don't know, I just had like this strong gut feeling or like intuition that I kind of need to come to New Zealand to go on with my life. So it was like just actually really just like a gut feeling. I've never been to New Zealand. I obviously don't have family or friends here, so I didn't knew anyone here, and I've never been here or heard from anyone who was here. So it was really just like a gut feeling to come here and just see why I have this like strong connection or feeling to come to New Zealand. Obviously, there was like a long, like there were a lot of steps in between, but so actually like since I don't know 15 years or something, I was thinking about coming to New Zealand. So yeah, last year that finally came true and I made that step. So yeah.
That's amazing. That kind of reminds me a little bit of my first time in New Zealand. I mean, that was now almost 10 years ago. I feel so old, like saying that. Like 2014 was the first time I went to New Zealand. With me, it was similar. I just knew Well, I knew that I didn't want to start a job straight away and I wanted to travel first. And everyone was doing Australia, and Australia sounded really good to me too. But then again, as well as snakes and crocodiles and whatnot. And I had no idea about New Zealand. I had no idea what to expect. And I think it's sometimes the best thing when you don't have any expectations and you just go with it. And that's so amazing that you decided to just do it. And so you went on a holiday visa?
Yes, yes, correct. So I was obviously like I think you went to New Zealand 2019, right?
Yeah.
Like came back the first time 2019.
Yeah.
So I think it was also 2019 when I was first really obviously I was studying and I had like my first job and I don't know, it was never like a never felt like the right timing or the right moment. And I think 2019 was like the first time where I was like, okay, maybe I want to go this year or next year to New Zealand. And I was looking reading all those blogs, like checked what are the possibilities, like looked for companies and all those different kind of things.
Mhm.
But then I was together with my ex-boyfriend. I just got then like a new job, so it didn't really work that year. And like I think it's different for Germany, but for Austria, they only open like the spot for a working holiday visa once a year. And it's also like 100 applications they only take, so it's not like unlimited. So it was obviously too late already to apply for 2019 for the working holiday visa. So, and then 2020, we all know what happened then. So, COVID
Yeah.
happened, all the borders were closed. So, obviously, I was not able to go to New Zealand. So, it was like, I was always like checking, like, you know, what are the rules, what are the regulations, like, am I able to go to New Zealand? But it was closed. So, and I think then I was working for my former company, and they also had like a branch in New Zealand, I think in Auckland. So I was asking via my company, is there like a possibility or chance to go to New Zealand and work within that company? Yeah, which didn't work out. But then I think it was 2022, beginning of 2022, and I got like the offer from my former company to go to the Netherlands and join the. So I was working in marketing, digital marketing, to join the team there. And yeah, I was obviously like, yeah, why not? I can't go to New Zealand right now, so why not just take the chance and like, yeah, just experience like how it is to live overseas or like live abroad. And I can remember then, I think even my dad sent me like a screenshot or message like, all the borders are opening for tourists again in New Zealand. And so I was checking, and then they also opened the working holiday visa again. So I was like, okay, you need to, obviously there are some like rules. I think you need to be below 30 or something to apply for the working holiday visa. And I was like, so it was like 2022, so it was 28 already. So I was like, okay, I only have like 2 years left to kind of take the chance. And
Yeah.
I thought, okay, the chances to get a working holiday visa is really low because obviously there are like only 100 spots available. So most probably I won't get it. Or like, especially since the last 2 years it was closed, so even more people maybe want to apply. So yeah, then I just thought, okay, I will just apply and see how it goes. And then actually I got a working holiday visa. So it got approved. And I was like, oh my God, what should I do now? I just moved to the Netherlands, like kind of, you know, started to build my life there and like had nice colleagues, was working in a company, started forming friendships, started with like CrossFit and all those things. Then I was like, okay, it has been such a long dream of mine, and maybe there's never the right timing. And like, I just need to take the chance, otherwise, I will regret it. So yeah, then I quit my job, left everything, came with a backpack to New Zealand, like in April last year, and yeah, started with a working holiday visa to come to New Zealand.
Yeah, wow. I literally just had goosebumps because I was just thinking, first of all, you making the opportunity for yourself, like asking in your company, can I work in New Zealand? Like you making the steps and making these things possible for you and asking, because that's a lot of time, like a lot of people don't even take the steps and see the opportunities and ask their employer like, is it possible for me to go to New Zealand, even if you might think, oh, I think it's not going to work, but you can always ask. And then probably because of that they thought, oh, we're going to make it, or we're going to ask her if she wants to go to the Netherlands, maybe because you took the first initiative to ask, can I go overseas? So they were then like, oh, you could go to Amsterdam, was it right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was living in Amsterdam, but yeah, the job was like in Almere, which is like 20 minutes away by train from Amsterdam. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is just such a beautiful story because you made these opportunities happen for you. And what I love is that I feel like too many people think, oh, I'm 28 now, and there will be so many people that gonna apply for the holiday visa. I'm not gonna make it, so they don't even try. But you were like, I have 2 years, I'm gonna apply and see, like, I'm gonna make this happen for me if it works, you know? I think that's such a cool step to do.
Yeah, I was obviously like also a bit like I was like, okay, at 28, like I only have two more years to kind of apply, or even like only one time. So, but I thought, I would regret it if I don't do it, because obviously, like when you do it, you can't say then at the end like, oh, why didn't I do it? So it's always like kind of like a motto for myself, like that I don't want to have regrets in life. And I guess if I wouldn't have taken the chance, then I would think back in 10 years and would be like, oh, why didn't I like take the chance? So yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to live with what if I tried, and what if I yeah. And so at least now you did, and you figured out that you wanted to stay. That's why you now study. Can you share maybe some challenges that you faced in the last, like moving to New Zealand, maybe while you were in New Zealand, or even before? You just said earlier you just made new friends in Amsterdam, you just kind of started your life there. Obviously, that was probably quite a challenge to move. And then what kind of challenges did you have when you were here?
Yeah. So when I moved to the Netherlands, originally the plan was to only stay there for 3 months. So I was like, okay, do you want to join the digital team there for 3 months? And I was like, yeah, sure. I still like kept my apartment in Vienna. Because obviously I thought, okay, we'll only stay there for 3 months. But then during like I think halfway through those 3 months, I was like, okay, I want to stay here and like, yeah, extend my contract. So obviously then I left like everything back in Austria, quit my apartment there, and found an apartment in Amsterdam, and yeah, just started like to build my life there. So obviously, then when I got the news about getting the working holiday visa, I was like, do I really want to start everything again? I just like kind of building everything there. So it was like really challenging for me, because obviously when you go to the other side of the world, I didn't have a job when I came to New Zealand. So obviously it's like a lot of like uncertainty, and like a lot of like things you don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe you're there and think like, oh, I really regret that I'm going there, because you obviously don't know how you will like it there because you've never been there. So it was like, yeah, really challenging to really take that step and like be courageous enough to do that again, because yeah, you did it already, and you obviously are in your comfort zone there again, and like build connections, and then you kind of start from scratch again and like go somewhere completely new again. So I had a good job there, I had like nice colleagues. Obviously also like the financial part of it was like also a big thing I was like really struggling with, of if I should really do that now or not, especially since I'm turning 30 soon. So it's not like, oh, I'm like 18, just finished my studies, and yeah, then want to go back. So
What made you then still do it? So maybe I just share my thoughts or what I always say, because I mean, I was 23 when I moved here or made the step. I'm turning 28 in May. But I always thought, okay, if it doesn't work out, I can always go back. And that's probably the same with you. Like you could have always been like, okay, I tried New Zealand, I'm gonna go back to Amsterdam. Or was that your mindset as well, kind of?
yeah, I think I had exactly the same mindset. It was also like, if I don't like it there, I take those 6 months or 3 months or 1 month or whatever, and just like try it and see how it is. And if I don't like it, I can always go back to Europe, obviously. So I just thought, and as I said earlier, it was such a long dream of mine, or like I had this like gut feeling and intuition, so that I was like, okay, I can't, like I got this one opportunity now. I can't, it was like I cannot not take it. It was like I
Yeah.
need to do that, because otherwise I will just just regret it, and maybe that chance will never come up again.
Yeah.
So there was obviously only one option at the end. So there was only that one way that I want to do that and need to do that. And if it doesn't work out, as you said, you can always come back and you can find another way, or like, yeah.
And you never lose, like you will just get experiences, and you will also, let's say you would have come here and you would have realized that's not it. At least then you know, and you don't have that what if. You said at least I tried. But luckily you like it here and you stayed. So that's amazing. What are like some of the favorite aspects of living in New Zealand, or what do you love most about the country?
Oh yeah, that's a difficult question because obviously, as you know, there are so many different things which I really love about the country. But I would say, like, definitely one of the biggest factors is the people. Like, I don't know, it's just like the people are super helpful, super friendly. It feels like everybody is kind of watching out for each other. And also, I don't know, it was like when I had my working holiday visa, I was traveling quite a lot, and then you just meet like strangers on at the beach having your lunch there. And so I was like at a beach, I think it was in the Coromandel area, and I was talking to a lady because her dog was coming towards me. And so she just invited me to her home to have coffee with her. Or I don't know, you just talk with strangers at the beach or like in a cafe, and then they say like, oh, if you're around that area, just give me a call or a message and come by and I will show you around. So it's, I don't know, just like the people, they're like super warm, welcoming, and like, yeah, just helping each other.
And you know what's weird? Like you wouldn't, if someone in Germany would tell me, "Oh, come to my place for coffee," you would be a bit like, I don't know, it's just it would have like which isn't weird, but it would be a bit weird to say this to someone in Germany, probably. But here in New Zealand, it's so normal, it's so nice.
And
And
also like the small talk aspect, right? Like just super normal when you're at the supermarket, or like I was at the warehouse stationery, printed some pictures, and then people when they're waiting in the queue just like randomly start talking to you. And like when you, like as you said, when I would be in Austria, I would feel a bit strange when just people started talking to me. But here it's just like super nice and warm and welcoming and like just super normal. And yeah.
I actually had my friend from, I'm not sure if I talked to you about it, but I had my friend from Germany here, and we were at Cotton On or somewhere, and the cashier, or like the person at the checkout, she was just talking to us, asking about our day, asking about something that I was wearing or what we were doing, and for me it was so normal to just have a little chat with her. And then my friend was like, is this normal? Like, was she serious? Was she really interested? And I was like, I think they are really interested. Like, it's just what you do, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely was something in the beginning for me. I mean, I still need to adjust to that because obviously I'm not used to like that small talk thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was in the beginning definitely also something for me. Like I was like, okay, I'm not used to that. Like it's not like a negative or weird thing, but it's just like when you come
Yeah.
from Europe, maybe people don't do that much. So in the
Yeah.
beginning, it might feel a bit like, okay, that's different. So yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So I would definitely say people, and obviously, like also, I don't know, just obviously we have like super beautiful beaches around. The weather, it's like sunny, warm, and like you can do so many things outdoor. And just in general, like the lifestyle here, like I don't know, there are so many like reserves and parks around. You can just have your daily walks. I think you're really into your walks with your podcast or music on, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like just like you said, like the lifestyle, I feel like people ought to make more time for these things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and they're super like outdoorsy and like, yeah, just I don't know, more relaxed, more laid back, just yeah, just like a like positive good vibe, I would say.
Yes, 100%. I so agree with that. Are there like any lessons you learned along the way? Like not just, it doesn't only have to be New Zealand related, like the whole journey maybe of moving here, or like,
Living abroad in general.
yeah.
Yeah, obviously there are a couple of them, but I think one or two of the biggest things is that I feel like it was the same for you, right? I mean, obviously the second time you came here you knew some people, but we are just by ourselves here, so we don't have family here, and in the beginning also not really friends. So I guess kind of showed me as well that I am my home, you know, that I'm obviously I did a lot of things by myself. I was traveling a lot by myself. I went to a cafe by myself. Like I did all those things all by myself because I didn't have friends or like people to do all those things. So just like, I don't know, I now feel like, yeah, wherever I am, I'm at home, you know. So it's like just kind of like trusting yourself and like enjoying the time by yourself as well.
That's so beautiful, said. Like that's so beautiful. That's so true because I always also say like you are the person you spent most of your life with, so you have to be okay with spending time alone and knowing that you are enough and you don't need any outside things for your happiness. Like wherever you are as home, like you just said this so beautifully. I think that's amazing. Yeah, definitely. And I so understand like moving here, you also have to get out of your comfort zone and ask people to catch up for coffee and get to know each other, like make friends and um yeah, it's just a step out of your comfort zone and you don't have like your security net you just said earlier. So you moved here, you didn't know anyone, and you've now lived here for like you're in your second year, right? Like
Yeah, so I came end of April last year. So it's like I came 2023 and now it's
yeah.
2024, but yeah, 1 year nearly.
Yeah. So do you feel like by now you have kind of your little, like obviously not as big as if you would have lived where you grew up, but you start having like your little security net or like your people?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it was in the beginning quite difficult because I was traveling a lot. So I stayed at one place like for a week or 2 weeks at least, which was the longest period. So obviously it was difficult to form connections and like meet people and like really stay friends with them. But yeah, now I think I'm in Taranga now since August, and yeah, now I'm living in a flat. So I have like my flatmates, and I started studying. So obviously, like, yeah, you get to know people. You're staying in at one place, so it's easier to form connections. And yeah, obviously I feel like the older you get, the more difficult it gets to like form those like really deep friendships, because yeah, you know what you want or what you don't want, but and also like everybody's super busy, so obviously it's more difficult than when you're younger, when you have more time maybe.
Yeah.
So it's definitely more challenging, but I do feel like that I have like now my kind of network or some people I can really rely on and like reach out to and like spend time with. So yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I feel like as well, like you just said, the older you get, like the harder it feels because when you're in school, you see people like half the day in school and stuff, or when you're at uni, you see people at uni. Then once you start working for someone, like you start seeing people at work, and then you just have to make those opportunities for yourself to maybe join a football club. For me, for example, join a football club. Or I think, which I think I love walking, like you just said earlier. Nowadays, maybe you would catch up with someone to go for a walk or something, and that's how you get to know someone and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. And yeah, the other thing I think, which is a bit similar to your story, I guess, as well. So the other learning I really had was that sometimes that you don't need to change the goal, but the plan maybe. So if like one plan doesn't work out, then change the plan, but not the goal. So
Yeah.
it's like obviously I came to New Zealand, was not sure if want to stay here or not. So I came with a working holiday visa. Then I figured out, okay, want to stay longer. So I got like a visitor visa in between, and now I'm on a study visa. So, which obviously in the beginning when I came to New Zealand, I was not thinking about like studying and like going the whole way through the study life again. But yeah, obviously you kind of, when you really want something, you kind of make it work. And I also see it as an opportunity because yeah, then you can just learn something new, do something different, and maybe the other path wasn't the right for you anyways. So
Exactly. That reminds me so like on my journey, like I was here to try to stay here and I wasn't even thinking about studying when I looked into ways how to stay here. And then last minute I ended up studying here. And I always say this to people like there's always a way. There's always somehow how you can make it work. I even had on my list, I had like three plans. Studying was not on it, but ended up studying. But one of the ideas was, even if it doesn't work out in New Zealand, I would just go over to Australia, where I could still do the working holiday visa, but then try to work my way back to New Zealand somehow. So I was like, there's always a way to make it work somehow.
What were the other two plans?
So my first plan was, before I left Germany, to get a sponsor straight away so that I can go to New Zealand with a sponsorship. The second plan was to go to New Zealand as a visitor and try to get a sponsorship while I'm here, which also didn't really work out. And then the third plan was to go to Australia to do my working holiday visa and then come back to New Zealand, try to work for a company in Australia that's also New Zealand, like a really circle around it. Yeah. But then I ended up studying, and that's how it all worked out. So yeah, there's always a way. So yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's kind of leading to the next question. Or do you have another lesson you've learned that you want to share?
No, just in general, maybe to like just trust your gut or like in your intuition and like just
Yeah.
trust yourself. Yeah, because obviously there is something universe or your body or whatever is telling you. So maybe sometimes just try to listen to that and really be courageous enough to just do it and see where it leads you.
Yeah, that's so important to, listen, to your gut feeling, to your intuition. And that leads back to making time for yourself and spending time by yourself rather than watching people online, or like getting distracted all the time from the outside world. So really connecting with, what do I want? That's so good. Yeah. And that's kind of leading to the next question. What mindset shifts have you found to be essential for adapting and thriving in a new country, which is, again, like what you kind of just said, listening to your gut, I guess, or yeah.
Yeah, and I guess also, as we both like know, sometimes, yeah, just be patient as well, because obviously we we do need to, or it sometimes does feel for me like I need to start from scratch again here, like obviously find your friends, find your kind of like social network, but also like career wise, we like you studied back in Europe as well. I had like a lot of work experience, but all those things kind of are quite difficult to bring into the country because it sometimes feel to me at least that does not really matter. They want to see like New Zealand work experience. They want to have like a New Zealand, somebody who is, how do you say that? Like somebody who is kind of like gives an evaluation about you, kind of like just telling the other person like how he feels about you or she. So yeah, it definitely is that you kind of need to start from scratch again, which sometimes is a bit challenging, but obviously, yeah, it will at one point lead you to the right path, and you just need to be patient. Take your time, and it will just come at one point.
Yeah. That's a good one. Like not losing, do you say, not losing sight of the bigger picture, like having your goal in mind. And I think that's such a good example with having work experience back home. Like I had it as well. I feel like on the one side, they don't really, it sounds weird, but I mean, depending on what you go for what kind of job, like some jobs, they don't even care about your past experience, in a way of, yes, you have to start from scratch, but then also when you make your connections and meet people, and then through other people, you will meet someone else and get another job and stuff. It's about starting from scratch and building connections, I guess.
Yeah, just building your network, kind of, which is, or at least what I experienced so far, is really important in New Zealand, to just like have your network and like, yeah, meeting the right people to kind of, just find your path. And I guess the other one is also like, I'm normally always a person who needs like a plan. I'm like trying to be like really structured and organized, but obviously sometimes it doesn't work. So sometimes it's also important to just go with the flow. Though it's all right to don't have a plan all the time, and just like figuring out along the way. So yeah, I guess that would also be another kind of like mindset shift I'm always trying to remember for myself, to just go with the flow and see what comes up.
I think that's sorry, plane. I think you're in the right country for that, going with the flow, because a lot of Kiwis go with the flow. And I myself am a big planner and I want to have a plan, but it's so important to just like go and just enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, like enjoy the ups and downs and trust the process. Like you said, like be patient and trust the process and still like being positive that everything will work out, because you are like responsible, like you've been in my, like every thought we have creates our reality, and that's just something that we are responsible for, and we just have to sometimes relax a little bit and let go of our structure. That I think that's also a European thing, right? Like having a plan.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah. That kind of leads us to a bit of the next question. You've been part of my Aligned Life Mastery of my first course in, was it August?
I think August, yeah.
Yeah, and then the second one was in October. So I think you said it before we started our call. What motivated you to join the Aligned Life Mastery group coaching?
Yeah, so it was really funny. I think I was even in Hawke's Bay at the time. So it was like beginning of July last year. So it was like halfway through my working holiday visum. And I was like, I don't know, I felt like really lost. And I was like, obviously, like back, I was so used to having like that routine, that structure, having my home base, like just having a place where I'm living. And at that time, I was just traveling around a lot. I had like a lot of house sitting jobs, and obviously, I got used to places and met some people at hostels or whatever, connecting with them. And then I was leaving again. So it was like really difficult for me to kind of, yeah, just have like a bit of structure and routine. And I also felt like I was kind of lost a bit in the sense of obviously, it was like a really long goal and dream of mine to come to New Zealand. Now I'm in New Zealand. Okay, what's like my next goal? Like, where do I want to head towards to? And like, yeah, just what do I actually want to do with my life? Like, what's my passion? Like, yeah, just I guess just figuring out what I want in life. So and yeah, I had like a day where it was felt like really, really obviously like with moving abroad, you have like those ups and downs. So it was like a really I would say it maybe was one of the lowest points in my life. So I was like really lost, was sad, like didn't have family or friends around. I just didn't know where to go, what to do next. So, and I think, I don't know if it was like, I think it was not the same day, but maybe a couple of days, weeks after, I saw that you're offering that aligned masterclass. And I was like, maybe I was thinking about doing something like mindset thing like that. So, and then I saw that and I was like, oh my God, maybe that's exactly what I need to do. And like, just sign up and see where it takes me to figure out what I want. So that was just like perfect timing. So, yeah.
Meant to be. Like I can so understand the feeling of the low, and sometimes we feel a bit lost, and especially often when we achieve a goal, like something we really wanted, then it's like, okay, what am I doing now? Like, what's the next step? And with you being on that visa as well, like you had to then kind of figure out the next step. Do I want to stay here? Do I want to, like, how can I stay here? So, yeah, and it's so beautiful that you share the story. Thank you so much. Like, that we all go through ups and downs, and that it's so normal to have those down days. And then we just have to figure out, okay, what can help me to get through this? How can I get out of this low? And I'm so happy that you saw my story or post about the Aligned Life Mastery. What do you feel like how has the Aligned Life Mastery supported your personal growth journey and empowered you to overcome like things or achieve goals and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was before already quite like into mindfulness, and like I was journaling quite a lot already before I joined that your class. But I don't know, I think it even helped me more to understand how much we can influence with our thoughts and with our daily habits, or like with just what we put out there. And so I think one of the things which I took with me, and I'm like a really big overthinker, so I always need to remind myself. Also, I did rewatch some sessions this weekend actually to kind of remind myself and like get into that habit of like thinking and visualizing. So I did create vision boards as well. I have one really big one in front of me as well. So just like manifest and visualize like what you really want. So, and I think one of the tips you gave was also like that you really feel and think like if you've already achieved it. So to really put yourself in the spot and really think, oh, I've managed to achieve that already. I've achieved my goal. Or like, yeah, first of all, of course, like visualize what's your goal, what you want to achieve, and then like just shift your mindset and have those thoughts. And like maybe before you go to bed or something, just visualize. I think you said that like visualize your dream life. So just always try to visualize what you're really looking for and want to attract and achieve. And so I think that was one really big thing for me, like to how important your mindset or your thoughts are.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. I love the like I always like the tip with visualizing before bed. It's like my number one tip because way too often before we go to sleep, we worry. We worry about the things that we have to get done. We worry about something that we have to achieve. We worry about how our next year looks like or like the upcoming test or whatever. Like for example, you had to do the English test as well, and I remember us talking about it. I remember when I was in the situation with my English test, and I remember back then as well visualizing me already having achieved and done the test. That helped so much in my mindset doing the test and learning for it. For those who don't know, like when you want to study in New Zealand, you have to first do like an English test just to prove that you can follow the study program. So that's the test I just talked about. But yeah, I think that's so beautiful, and I'm so happy that that could help you like with things or like out of the low and visualizing how you want to feel like, because you can start feeling it right now. You don't have to wait until you achieve something. You can decide to feel it right now. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And also like I think one of the things which also really stuck with me was like that life is happening for you. So you are like kind of the captain of your life, and obviously there are situations which you can't influence. Like there are so many external factors and things, but just to always remember and remind yourself like I can influence how I'm reacting to situations or like how I'm reacting to life. So if I'm like not happy or if I want to change something, obviously you're the only person who can change that. I mean, it's like really difficult sometimes because there are some maybe some situations or things which might take longer that you can like change that. But just to always remind yourself like you can always that life is happening for you and is taking you on the right path and like where you need to be and where you need to go. But you also kind of need to manifest and like ask for those things and like put yourself out there and just try to go towards that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can choose the thought, you can choose like when things happen to you. Of course, like you said, we can't influence outside things, but you can still choose the thought of how you want to move forward, which doesn't mean, like you said as well, like you're not allowed to be like sad or like might take a bit longer to get over things, but knowing that life's happening for you and you can still decide to have a beautiful life and still follow your dream and whatnot. So yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything else that comes to your mind that we haven't covered?
I mean, I have some things, but I think like in general, we've covered everything. Maybe the only thing which I think you also touched up on then on that like in your stories and stuff, which I feel like when you're moving abroad, obviously like you miss your family and friends, and I sometimes do have that like feeling of guilt that you feel like, okay, you live on the other side of the world, and like you obviously can't spend that much time with your family and friends, and maybe like your grandparents are getting older and all these kind of things. So I think also that's just something, just wanted to mention here, that I think that's just like something which is normal, I guess. And yeah, so obviously, yeah, we can't change that. And I also feel like, for example, with my family, obviously they are sad that I'm here and that I'm that far away, but also I would, or I think they know that I really like it here and enjoy it here, and that's my dream. So obviously they also don't want me to just go back only because of them. But I think that's just, yeah, just maybe one of the challenges as well, which comes to living abroad, I guess.
Yeah, I so understand, like 100%. And I feel like what's really important then is like having just open conversations about it. Like, I guess your family knows how much you love New Zealand or how much you enjoy living there. And I'm sure every family member or like our parents want to see us happy and want to see us achieving our dreams. And I know that like a lot, like that's a message that I receive a lot as well. Like, how did you do with like moving overseas and guilt of leaving parents behind? And I think, yeah, an open conversation is always the best thing. Even to like, I actually had a called my parents the other day because I was thinking I might, or last year when I was in Germany, I mentioned that I might come back this year, but now we're planning a wedding and we also, Jules and I want to travel somewhere. And it just, I have like those other goals in my business or what I'm building. And I feel like going to Germany will kind of take a month out. Like there's just so much that I want to achieve, and I plan the wedding and stuff like that. It's just a big thing as well. And I actually called my parents and I was emotional. I was crying and telling them that I think I can't make it this year. And they were not even expecting me to come. Like they were not even, they were thinking like, we see you at the wedding. But it was just talking about it, just telling them how you feel and that I love them so much, but I just have like those goals that I want to achieve and tick off. And it doesn't mean that I don't love them. And
Yeah. And I'm sure they understand as well, right? So they obviously want you to be happy and know that you have a lot of things going on. And so obviously they are not like angry or like, I don't know, sad. I mean, obviously they are sad that you're not there, but they
yeah.
will always like, I guess always like, as long as you are happy, they are happy as well, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
but I do understand. Yeah, definitely understand that.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for having me on your podcast. I was really nervous, but yeah, really honored to be on your podcast. I'm always listening to your podcast when I'm walking to work or like walking somewhere. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode today. I hope you could get inspired and you now know that you should always follow your gut feeling, your intuition. And I hope you know how precious life is and that it's so worth it to follow your dream. And I think one more important thing that Mel also mentioned is don't live with any what ifs. Like, don't make it happen. And we don't want to live with what is. What if I tried? What if I've done that? And no, it's never too late. You can always change your path. You can always decide to go for your dream and what sets your soul on fire. So I hope this inspired you. I am taking my Aligned Life Mastery course below. So if you want to learn more about how your mind works and how you can do certain mindset shifts, which are sometimes necessary to follow our dreams, because sometimes something's holding us back that we're not even aware of, but it is so worth it to break through these limiting beliefs and to make it happen. So I'll leave it in the show notes. I'm also gonna add a questionnaire down below because I'm planning to do a New Zealand call where I share my journey and how I moved here. I wish I had someone. Honestly, I wish I had someone 5 years ago that I could have asked these questions, that I could have get in touch with, jumped on a call with, and talk about New Zealand and how to move to New Zealand. So I'm planning to create a few calls where I answer your questions, where I share my journey. So I'm thinking at the moment at like 3 to 5 calls, depending on how many questions you have. So yeah, feel free to leave them, to sign up or like use the Google form to just leave your questions, your current how do you say, like situation you're in and your goal, like moving to New Zealand, and yeah, and then I'll be in touch once I know when I'll be offering a call. And I hope you have an amazing day.